Welcome back to Celebrity Radio TV. I'm Carolann Jacobs, founder of Vivid Epiphany, brain-based coaching, and with me today I have Uni Yost of Shimmy.com, and I'm very excited to have her on as a guest today. She and I met through a networking connection. I always like to talk about those times that happens where you have a really great one-on-one with somebody and they say, oh, there's this person that you really need to meet. I think you guys would really hit it off. And sure enough, Uni and I got together and immediately clicked and decided that we wanted to do work together. I was just so impressed with her, and I wanted to have the opportunity to bring her on to the show. So welcome.
Oh, I'm excited.
I'm really excited to have you. And let me tell you guys a little bit about Uni. She and I share that passion about having places where people do really excellent work. And when I talk about it, people say, well, don't seem to think that there's a correlation between having an excellent place to work and profit. And Uni's here to tell you that that's not so. She has a degree in accounting and a degree in technology, and so she's got experience in vertical markets like healthcare and financial and real estate and telecom and manufacturing. As a matter of fact, her career looks a lot like my past career in many ways. She has a lot of business experience with corporate strategies and objectives, and because she's such a great consultant and she has such a passion for customer service, she just provides such an excellent service. And as a matter of fact, one of the things we talked about is that sometimes when she's ready to move on to a new project, her clients don't want to let her go, and what a problem is that to have. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Uni Yost of Shimmy.com.
Hi. I'm excited to be on the show. I don't think I've ever been on TV or on radio before, so I'm a little bit nervous. So hopefully that doesn't pass through as people are listening and watching us. Regarding about the business, I think it's very, very important, especially in this economy, to make a business as sound as possible. And that can stem from making sure your future strategy from just even 30 days from now, come into fruition. And then that, of course, streamlines back into operations. And, of course, everybody gets impacted financially and everything else. But all in all, I think it's, I feel as though that I can contribute to the market by keeping everybody employed. I think that's a win for everyone. I'm sure the companies don't really want to lay off people, but whenever they look at the bottom line, that's what they're seeing. They're like, okay, first thing we do is, lay off people. But in reality, it shouldn't be that way. It should be surrounded by their strategy, their operations, and then trying to make themselves efficient. If they're efficient, they don't need to lay off people.
That's such a great point that it's while it's hard emotionally, especially in smaller companies, to lay people off who may feel like family to you. On the one hand, on the other, that's often the first place they go because it's a big bottom line. So, what makes you passionate about the business that you do?
I think it's that I can make an impact, not only from the standpoint of the people who've started the business, let's say if they're the principals of the company, but all the way down at the bottom where people are the actual workers that brings in the revenue, that brings in that client services that people are, excited to go to. But, making every person in the company as important as the CEO of the company. And I think that's the key. And if I can do that and making that person key person where they can create an impact even to the bottom line.
So it sounds to me like what you're saying is that employees really become partners then in the success of the company, and that you're tapping into that want of everybody, that they want to make a contribution.
Oh, absolutely, and everybody wants to. The problem is that they don't get the opportunity. And, once they can, really get to know the people that works with them, that works for them, they can bring out the strength, the best in everybody. And then that all ties back into the financials, which people in the top always looking at and going, okay, we got to cut back because we're not making our profit numbers. But really, just having a small change in their business and the way they're operating it and the way they're relating their people makes a huge, huge difference.
So what kinds of companies do you look for when you want to make a big impact?
I usually stem with a minimum of between 30 to 50 employees, and I think that makes a difference in terms of what I can make. I'm trying to think of the best word for it, where I can turn the mindset of the people. If the company is really small, then they're really afraid of change. But then having a little bit, a bigger number or pool of people are up to it. They want change in reality, but the problem is that they never get the opportunity to voice that change. And I think like what you do really fits what my model of what we do for clients is that I could walk in and go, let's look at your assets. It's not the equipment. Yes, it's part of it. It's a physical asset. But the most important asset are the people that work for you and the person that you work with. In reality, we work with the people more than we spend time with our spouses, our children, our friends. I mean, when you're spending 40, 50, 60 hours with the same people every day, really they're your family.
Yeah. It's funny that you bring that up because one of the mantras that I think we talked about when we talked one-on-one in business is that you don't have to like me, you only have to respect me. And I think that's really interesting, but what a fulfilling way to live where I'm spending 50 hours with perhaps people that I don't like very much. Yeah. And how often do you see that in the consulting work that you do?
We see that a lot, especially in this market, because everybody feels as though they do not want to be eliminated. So it's almost like every man for himself or every woman for themselves. But if we can work together and get to know each other and say, hey, you know what? You are really good at this. Why don't we switch our roles? Because I'm good at your weakness. And so it gives that real partnership balance. And coming to that medium is difficult for a lot of companies because they don't want to make the effort to find that out.
Do you think it's because they're afraid? Is that in this kind of a circumstance that people are hunkering down and just trying to lay low and get through as opposed to owning up to what they're good at and what they're not?
Right, absolutely. And you can see that impacted in the bottom line. When people are only giving you 50%, guess what? The bottom line gets cut 50%.